Hello. This is just a little sequence that I do when I feel like I don't know what to do and I want a little bit of upper body, a little bit of lower body. So there's two movements, one for your piriformis, deep glute muscle right in here, and one for your shoulders and upper back. So let's get started. We'll do our glutes first. You're gonna be laying down and you will have your legs bent with one foot crossing over the other. And before you get started with this sort of stuff, you wanna make sure you're as relaxed as possible. So try to have, in this position or laying comfy, whatever, some really deep breaths. But what we want to achieve is your hips staying nice and even and on the ground. So I know I'm in a billion layers and you can't see, but we don't want our hips to come off the ground or to start to twist. So you can put your hands on your hips and feel that heavy sensation down. And then we're going to hold on to the outside of your top knee. So flexing the foot if you need, if you feel like you want that for your ankle. And you're just gonna gently draw that knee in toward you. And find an equal press between your hand and the knee. So there's a bit of tension and friction, keeping your hips on the floor, and then you release. So you'll do it probably 5 times, starting, maybe a quarter of the way, and maybe you get a little further every time, but you're resetting all the way back to the start. So I keep my hips even. I might even use my 2 hands. Feel that resistance. And it feels a little bit through my inner thigh as well, because I'm always tight there. And your top hip, so your top knee hip, is going to want to move the most. So that's where you don't want to roll. You want to see if you can keep it flat. So a little bit of core engagement. Every time you resist, hold it in, and then release. And it's very subtle, probably not going to feel a whole lot, but the idea is instead of just letting it go and rocking around, you feel into that point. Hips stay heavy and release. And probably however many it takes for you to get to that max range. And then we add a little bit more force. My hips have lifted slightly, but that's okay. Just a tiny bit is fine. Obviously, you just don't want to let it go all the way. So I'll do one more. And I'll add that little bit more resistance, not letting my knee win and push me back. My hands are just gently winning. And then I relax. And if you really wanted, you could take a figure 4. But otherwise, the other side. Hips stay even. Drawing knee in. And then pressing away. However long you want to hold is up to you. But it should be effortless. Should be light. The subtlety is what we're going for with fascial maneuver stuff. And you can probably hold it a little bit longer than I'm doing. I'm just sort of making it not boring for the sake of the video. But that is your first little maneuver for your piriformis. So you're actually flossing out through that line. Hips staying even. Okay. My kitty's eyes are fucking weird. Anyway, sorry, just scratch me ass. Next thing, you'll sit cross-legged, sitting nice and tall as well. So if you need to sit on a block, there shouldn't be any discomfort in your hips or, your legs, your back. So if you can't comfortably, if you're sitting like this, you want to sit relatively straight without, overarching, just so you've got this light feeling where you're coming up to the ceiling through the crown of your head. One arm comes out into a cactus shape, nice even line from shoulder to elbow, elbow to hand. Again, staying tall without your chest lifting too much. And you're gonna bring this in front just as close as you need for your opposite hand to hold onto that elbow. And think about the same resistance. You resist out and away, and then as you relax, you draw it in, keeping that same cactus line. Resist out and away, and then draw it in. Out and away, and draw it in. And it gets quite intense. You'll eventually get to that point where it feels pretty strong. So don't rush to get there. Hello Kitty's about, oh. But yeah, you eventually want to get to the point that you're in this extended position. I'm not trying to move my whole body. I want to keep my torso forward, and this elbow will eventually come out to the side. Again, less is more. You don't need to be all the way over here. When I just feel that resistance and relax, that's enough. So again, for the sake of the video, I'm just going a little quicker, but you can spend more time if you would like. Other side is of course the same, sitting up tall, coming around, holding onto that elbow, keeping everything relaxed. Resist out, that way, and then relax. Elbow stays up. Resist, relax. Woohoo! But yeah, the more that you can resist, relax, take your time, blah, 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 the more that it will just be juicy and hot. So, yeah. Those are two little fun maneuvers. Again, doesn't feel like a whole lot. Takes a while for you to sort of, not a while, but like, anyway, fuck up, Hannah. Goodbye.